Welcome back, LEGO builders and Minecrafters. Gigahertz Productions here, and this is episode 8 of building Mumbo's base out of LEGO. Now, first off, I'm sorry to say that this episode came out just a wee bit late, but there are two main reasons for that. Number one reason is you can probably tell that I did a little bit with the structure, and I got a little bit of some base foundation laid out in there. And that took a long time because I had to rip out everything and then rebuild it again with the supports in. And the second reason is I was waiting for a BrickLink order to arrive. And now I know this is of the Amazonian packaging, but I am fairly certain that this is my BrickLink order, so I'll just be quickly opening that up in just a few minutes. But first off, some announcements. And now the first announcement is pretty insane. So on Reddit, I got invited by, I'm not entirely sure what his name is. I think it started with a Y. But I got invited to join the LEGO Masters in the US. And for those of you who don't know, LEGO Masters is the show where they get to compete and build LEGO and potentially get to the end and win. But sadly, I cannot do it as amazing as it would be because I am not yet over the age of 18. So that's kind of a bummer, but it's still insane, just the fact that I was invited to join. Now, the other announcement is related to the LEGO competition that we are going to be entering, and sadly, it is not going to be hosted live. So instead, there's just going to be, send in your pictures to the, people that are running it, and then I guess it'll be judged or something like that. But the event is not going to be as fun as it was when it was live. So that is a kind of a bummer. But that is not going to deter us from building up Mumbo's base, because it's all about the build. But let's do that quick unboxing that I mentioned earlier. So in this package should largely be green pieces that I'm going to build all the terrain with. So hopefully this is the LEGO package, and I'm pretty sure it is. So inside it looks like we got some, I can see green pieces. We'll get all of this other crap out of the way. And as you can see, there are a lot of green pieces. Let's actually get all this Ziploc out of here. So all of these green pieces should help me build up the terrain for the hill that goes around the base, and hopefully get this mock looking a lot more complete. But before we jump into that terraforming time-lapse, I am sure all of you saw the supports, and I mentioned it earlier, but I think you can kind of see where I'm going with this. So these lines of gray bricks here, those are going to be they're not going to be there in the end, so here is going to be the arch going up here. And then these corner pieces are going to hold up the massive support structure things that are going to go all the way up there, as well as the wall that goes along here, and then we'll go up like that. And I figured the best way to do it was using these Technic pieces at a 45-degree angle to get the right angle, and so it's going to look its best. And the plan is going to be to build up kind of the middle structure first with all those weird arches in the middle, and then do the outer part, or those big structure tower things last. So that's the plan for probably the next 5 or 8 episodes, which is going to be the next half of the series is all going to be building the center piece. So let's jump into that terraforming time-lapse.
Many hours later.
Oh my gosh, this took a very, very, very long time. Hence, the episode is coming out a little bit later, sorry for that. But this was a big grind. And you guys saw the first part in the time lapse where I built up this front section here. But then I decided to cut out the rest because it's very, very repetitive. I'm just doing the same thing, all around the side. Just placing bricks sideways, with the slopes. Maybe it differentiates a little bit, but it's relatively the same all the way around. And this took me the better part of 3 or 4 days to do. But the end result here looks very, very, very good. And I quite like it. And I was contemplating putting in a tree or something here, but I decided against it because there aren't any trees, at least not yet, that Mumbo has put in the inner part of the octagon. So I decided to leave it out. But here are a couple close-up pictures of this absolute grind of a project, and man oh man, it looks very good. And I am very pleased with it, because this is one of my very first times ever doing grassy or green, or more plant terrain. The only other type of snot technique terrain I've done was on my Mandalorian mock, but that was all rocks. But man, this looks so good, and I bet you that Chariot is very, very happy. And some of you might have spotted it up in the corner, but yes, I broke another wrench. I have to go fix that now. But man, that was the very first wrench I made, and it seems to be the most fragile because it's broken 3 or 4 times now. Oh, and the other announcement that I think I forgot to say before, it's not really an important announcement, but for the holiday season, I think I'm going to change my YouTube logo a little bit just to encompass those Christmassy ideas. So look out for that on my channel. Oh, and you might have seen it, in the time-lapse a little bit. But yes, the back is very unfinished, and I haven't really done anything to it yet. But with the back, I'm going to do this in the next episode. I think I'm going to not leave it like that, for sure, but just make it, a lot simpler than this. So maybe just, normal technique instead of snot. So I'll just, place some bricks in. And not make it as nice as the front, because nobody's going to be really looking at the back too much anyway. So it should look fine just being kind of a green hill that's not quite as good as the stuff that we did up front. But I have very much run out of time for this episode, so that back has to wait for the next one. So, I hope you enjoyed this relatively mega episode, and it might end up being pretty short because most of the work was off camera. But if you did enjoy, make sure you leave a like, and comment down below with any feedback or ideas that you have to make this mock even better. Uh-oh, it looks like I missed a little red spot right there. Okay, there we go. But I thank you for watching this video, and make sure you check out the entire series if you're new. But with that said, Gigahertz Productions, out.